Your time is not anybody else's time. Just continue to deliver, to create and to operate from a position of excellence, to operate with no excuses, and perform and give your client what they need, and you'll be okay. It took me about 6 or 7 years, but I became their number one broker, and to this day I am. Mm-hmm. And they started me back in 1990, March 1st. And I always think about how do I make sure that I'm delivering for them.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Aquia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives just like you on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. If you are a friend in beauty, I welcome you to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community. If you're looking for a community of like-minded, ambitious friends in beauty to virtually connect with, network, and share resources, then click the link down below in the show description to join us in the Facebook community, and I'll be there to welcome you with open arms. Also, let's get social. Follow Friends in Beauty on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. Additionally, the Friends in Beauty podcast is available on several platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google, YouTube, you name it, we are there. And whatever platform you are listening from right now, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Friends in Beauty podcast. I appreciate it more than you know. And I would love it even further if you took the time to leave a 5-star rating, a review, a like, a comment, a share, a subscribe, or something to let me know how you feel about the Friends in Beauty podcast. Additionally, Friends in Beauty is now on Patreon. So for as little as $3 a month, you can support the Friends in Beauty podcast. And there are also several tiers available that unlock Patreon exclusive content just for you, like behind the scene content of the Friends in Beauty podcast, bonus interview clips, a monthly Ask Me Anything, discounts, and so much more. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll leave the link down below in the show description for that as well. Also, if you'd like to stay connected even further, join the Friends in Beauty mailing list tribe. They are the first to know about all things Friends in Beauty, and I send out different resources and tips throughout the week. So if that's something that you're interested in, join us over there. And last but not least, listen up. The most important thing is to share the Friends in Beauty podcast with your other friends in beauty, your family, your friends, anybody that you think could benefit from the information that is being shared. Share away to help me grow the Friends in Beauty community. Now, on this episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, I welcome Germaine Bolds-Leftridge to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. Germaine is the president of GBL Sales and has been in the health and beauty industry since 1984. Germaine began her career in 1984 as a merchandiser for soft sheen products in the Baltimore, Washington metropolitan area. 2 years later, she started working as a sales representative in the Northeast for one of the most progressive broker organizations prior to becoming the regional manager of World of Curls located in Los Angeles, California. When she was presented with an opportunity to become a broker in 1990, she enthusiastically accepted the challenge, and GBL Sales opened its doors for business on March 1st, 1990. The company is headquartered in Columbia, Maryland, and specializes in the sales and marketing of health and beauty aids in the Northeastern and Southeastern markets. She founded GBL Sales as a means of serving the diverse needs of her clients and has gone on to broker deals for some of your favorite beauty brands. Germaine is also the founder of the Ubiquitous Women's Expo, IKnow Skincare, and just an all-around businesswoman. I had such a wonderful time chatting with Germaine, and I really didn't want our conversation to end. In this interview, Germaine shares how she began working in the beauty industry and ultimately opened up her own marketing and sales firm, how brands can bring their brand stories to life in their marketing, the power of the Black consumer, advice on holding your own as a woman in a male-dominated industry, all about the upcoming Ubiquitous Expo going down on August 27th and 28th, 2022, her latest venture, IKnow Skincare, catered to mature women, redefining the word failure, and so much more. Germaine did not come to play, okay? She dropped so many gems and life lessons from us to learn from, and I truly enjoyed my time with her. So let's go ahead and jump into this amazing chat with Germaine. And if you prefer to watch our beautiful faces, then tune in on YouTube. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, Germaine.
Thank you, Aquia. Thanks for having me. I'm so honored.
I'm so honored. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. I've been observing you throughout the years and attended Ubiquitous. Even had the chance to do a makeup class at Ubiquitous one year.
I remember.
Yeah, I'm
I
so
think
excited.
that was 2017, 2018, I think.
Yeah, either 18 or 19.
Yeah.
The years just like do this now. I don't even know.
Yeah, I know.
I know, but I'm so excited to have you. Before we jump into it, I would love to start off with some icebreakers to get us warmed up.
Okay.
Yes. And I always say for the Friends of Beauty audience to get to know you a little bit outside of what you do, like professionally.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, just give us 3 random facts about you.
I don't know how to swim, and I just started taking swim lessons at 63 years mature.
Good.
And I had some girlfriends to join me. I knit, I crochet, and when we were on planes a lot more, I would crochet and knit and make all my friends Christmas gifts, and I called them homemade love. And the third thing is that I'm an avid golfer. I'm 3-time club champion at Lakewood Country Club in Rockville, Maryland. So I love the sport. It's just great. And I encourage all women to at least try it.
I love that. It's super cool. So I used to crochet. I was thinking about picking it back up. I learned when I was like 10 or 11, and I used to make hats and all types of stuff. I love that.
Yeah, you should. And I just encourage, those are lost hobbies that young people are not taking up anymore. And we wanted to do this thing at Ubiquitous, and it was entitled Be Your Own Designer. But it became too problematic, and we could not make it happen in a short period of time. So, and we need to do those things. It's very relaxing, and it just shows your creativity.
Yeah, I said I wanted to pick it up too because I'm like, there aren't going to be any more grandmas like crocheting their like grandkids blankets anymore. It's like nobody does that anymore.
No, they don't. Just like there's very few cobblers, cabinet makers, and a lot of these things is dying breed.
Yeah,
and we gotta look back and say, okay, we gotta get back to those things where it forced us to use our hands.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. What do people always tell you that you're good at aside from what you do professionally?
That I'm a connector.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
That I'm a consummate connector.
I get that too.
Yeah.
That's why I started doing networking events, because it was just easy for me to like bring people together.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So I have these things called pod decks, and they have like these very interesting questions in them. This is a what the heck deck, and this is a would you rather. Which one do you want?
Would you rather?
Would you rather? Okay. And sometimes, I always tell people I have to warn them, because sometimes these questions are a little weird, but sometimes they're really good.
And I may say, I plead the fifth.
I love that. Oh, this is crazy. It says, would you rather get your hands stuck in a meat grinder or a blender? What?
Neither.
Right, they're both crazy.
Yes, neither.
Yeah, I don't like that one. Yeah. Anywho, I love asking this question. When is the last time that you did something for the first time?
It will be the swimming. I've had a pool in my backyard for over 20 years, and I can count on one hand in those 20 years how many times I just put my feet in the water. And, God has really blessed me, and I wasn't taking advantage. And I just said, I'm not going to let that desire die with me. There would be no nothing that I thought that I wanted to do that I didn't try. I'm going to do tandem jumping out of the airplane. One of my swimming mates, my girlfriend said, I'll do that with you, Germaine. So I'm doing that next summer.
Okay. I'll be waving as y'all come down.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
I love it. Like a risk taker. I love that.
Yeah, I'm a Sagittarius. So I'm a risk taker.
Got you. Let me see. If you could give a piece of advice to 30-year-old Germaine, like what would you tell her?
Stop worrying about what other people think. Or what, because that's crippling.
Yeah.
Or how they will respond to something that you're deciding to do for yourself. Because what I have come to understand is, and that's why I started my own skincare line, because I never wanted to have a conflict of interest with my clients. I always put them first. And when my mom passed in 2020, which is, it still hurts like it was yesterday. I realized, it made me realize, seeing her going through her transition, that life is shorter than you think.
Yeah.
And it came up, if not now, when will I do it? I can still be a servant. I'm a servant. I love helping people. I love helping people to realize their dreams. But what about my dreams? What about my desires? So they can coexist. So, and whoever my clients and that don't want me to promote myself, they're not the clients for me.
Right.
Because just like I want you to do well, you should want me to do well just as much as I love seeing you succeed. So, and all my clients are wonderful. I love them.
Thanks for sharing that. I'm so sorry to hear about your mom.
Yeah, girl.
But it always seems like in those moments we have those like revelations, and kind of makes us kind of go like a little bit harder when you lose someone like that. It just kind of shakes you up and like, okay, I got to get it done, because like you said, life is short.
And it also helps you to realize that don't take relationships for granted. Because you just never know. Those things that are really important to you, you got to put the time in. You got to be willing to compromise. You got to be willing to be quick to say, I love you, I forgive you. And, just take the time. And so, it was a great experience for me, and the worst experience. So I'm grateful.
Yeah. So the last one, if you weren't running GBL, I want to say GBL because it's for Germaine. If you weren't running GBL Sales, like Ubiquitous, IKnow Skincare, like, do you have anything else that you would want to do? Like, you do a lot already, but
you know what? I would really be knee deep into philanthropic initiatives.
Ooh, yeah.
I would really be on boards, doing what I could do more on helping, especially young men in our communities, assume their rightful position, and that's at the head of the table. And I just think we gotta put more time into our children and stop judging. Just like with the squeegee boys. And it's funny because my girlfriend and I, we had just before that incident happened in Baltimore, we were just talking about it. And I said, well, people are missing. These young men are entrepreneurs.
Right.
Should they have at 15 years old a gun? But what happens is we're so quick to judge everything. These kids carry guns because it's for protection in their neighborhood.
Right.
And I hate to say it, because no one should lose their life over something like that. It's just tragic all the way around. But what are you proving to get out your car with a bat?
Right.
And if they were in Florida, stand your ground. But things always get reversed. But no one should lose their life. It was a bad decision. But you have to understand, when you don't educate, when you don't give people great opportunities to thrive and to be able to support their family, this is what happens.
Right.
It really does. And by no means should the squeegee boys get aggressive. If somebody said no, but I have to tell you, I've never had an issue with the squeegee boys. And I tell them all the time, Don't be putting that dirty water on my windshield. Here, let me give you some money. Hopefully you're in school. And they be like, yeah, ma'am, you look good. Oh, yeah, yeah. Been nothing but respectful. I've never had an issue. And so, but it's how we have to talk to them. And we have to really understand their journey. But I mean, they have to learn too. If somebody's no means no.
Right.
I don't want you to clean my windshield. Don't do it, and don't break my windshield wiper because I said no to you. You know, but so those kind of things, you know, it just makes me sad to see you know, this whole situation.
Yeah.
You know?
So unfortunate because
it
starts at the beginning. It starts like with their foundation and everything, and everybody's foundation. Oh gosh.
Yep. And it's that putting them back at the head of the table. That's where conversations take place. That's when young ladies, when guys are understand their responsibility at being at the head of the table. Girls don't wear the things that they wear. It's just, you know, I remember my dad being at the head of the table. We had to be at the table at 6:30. I don't care what you were doing outside. 6:30 dinner, you know, dinner. So we're not doing, we're too busy now.
The family structure is crumbling.
It is, and most unfortunate.
Oh man, thanks for sharing that. I would love to jump into it and just find out, who is Germaine outside of all of the business ventures that you have going on when you're just chilling in the house, relaxing. Who are you to the core?
You know what? I love hard. I'm very loyal. I cry. I laugh hard. I love to be around people that make me laugh. I am, and people don't believe this until they get to really know me. I love being by myself, but I also want to know that my family's down. I can feel their energy. You know, I love being in my room. I love Judge Judy. I got my husband takes all her things, and a lot of them are reruns, but I watch them anyway. I love my alone time. I love being a wife. I love being a mom. I love being a nana. I love being a sister.
Yeah.
And a boss lady, a friend, you know, and you know what? And I look at how people are rallying around me to make sure that Ubiquitous is successful. And I said to my husband just last night, I said, I'm getting these texts from people saying, Germaine, I got my ticket, and I'm encouraging other people to get theirs. And I said, oh, it just makes me feel so good. He said, Germaine, that's what you do for people. And he's, you know, so it is, life is a boomerang. What you put out is what you're gonna get back.
Yeah.
And I'm truly grateful. And so that's who I am. But I think who I am by myself is who I am around everybody else. It's just the same. And I've always said, who you are by yourself is who you really are, period.
I love that.
You know, when nobody's looking, that's who you really are.
Yep.
So I check myself when I'm by myself, things I think about, thoughts that I have, things that I may have said. I check myself. I know myself from inside out. I know my good. You can't tell me about my ugly. I know about my ugly.
Right.
You know, I am Detroit Germaine. I you know, I'll rub your feet, but I will if you push me. Don't put me in the corner. You know, so, but I feel what you see basically right here, right now, is who I am by myself.
Yeah, I love that. Is there a such thing as balance when you have so much going on in your life?
I think one day when I'm in my 70s, even then, that's what I love about Norma Kamali. She's 75 years old. And she's just fabulous to me. Yeah. And just so many other women are really finding themselves in their fourth quarter. And so I don't know. I complain sometimes that my life is so busy, but my husband said, if you didn't have a project, you would be so depressed. So I have no regrets. I love just the way it is. And I'm just who knows what next year gonna bring or the year before. But while I have breath, I'm gonna live my life.
I know that's right. I love that.
My life.
Yeah. So before GBL Sales, like what were you doing and how did it lead you to creating like your own sales and marketing firm?
When I look back, um, when I when I got out of college, girl, I wasn't serious about getting a job. I was living with my man, living my life. And then I started seeing my friends, they were working with Fortune 500 companies. And I was like, oh, Germaine, you better get serious about getting a job. And then when I got serious, things had always come very easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to get a job after college, when I started getting serious, it would always end up me and another person.
Yeah.
And the other person would get the job.
Right.
And, but God knew the path that he had for me. And that's the one thing I tell young people, don't sweat it. Do the right things and just let God go with the flow. God got you. Make sure you're doing the right things for the right reason. And you're going to look back and say, I was sweating over that. And look what happened.
Yeah.
So then I started work. I finally got a job. I was trying to be an airline stewardess. That didn't happen.
I would have told that.
Yeah, that didn't happen. And then I got a job selling cars. And so I realized that I was really good at it.
Yeah.
I didn't like that you almost have to be, back in the day when I was in it, I could hold somebody full list, but I was like, she was a single mother, oh, let me take $300 more off. And just certain things that went on in the car business, it went against the core of who I am, Mm-hmm. And so then I worked as an insurance company. And every day when I put my hand on that door to walk in, I was like, God, please give me strength to deal with this one more day. I hate this job, but I'm grateful.
Uh-huh.
And then one of my sorority sisters, she was in the beauty space, and I met her homecoming, and she was like, you'll be perfect in the beauty industry. And I said, I know, what the heck? And so she got me an interview, and I started as a merchandiser with Soft Sheen back in 1984. And when I look back, certain things, sometimes you got to take back and really sit back and really think about the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about, and I never knew the connection. My grandmother was a hairstylist on my father's side in Charleston, South Carolina, had a beauty salon.
Wow.
My mother did hair. And then it was just in that space. My sister is a master barber, a jewelry maker, just really creative. My other sister's in the beauty industry.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, this was our journey. And I've always worked, when I look at it, go back, Soft Sheen, entrepreneur type company, Luster Products, entrepreneur type, Worlds of Curls, entrepreneur, brokers that I work, entrepreneurs. So it set me up for working as an entrepreneur myself.
Right.
I was around, I had an entrepreneur state of mind, and everybody doesn't have that. And so, and I connect with people. And when you connect with people and you do things not looking for anything in return, the universe really provides everything that you need.
Absolutely.
And that's what has happened. People have been nothing but good to me, always making recommendations. Since the day I hung my shingles out on March 1st, 1990, I've never had to beg. I've had hard times, never been in the red. Mm-hmm. I've been in a space where I'm like, God had to say, don't believe your eyes. Trust me. And I've been there, but it's been a blessing. And I'm just so great. I just can't say it enough. I'm just really, really grateful.
Yes, I absolutely love that. Don't believe your eyes. Trust me. I felt that one.
Yeah, don't believe it. And it's true, because, and that's why I said everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur, because some people just don't have the stomach for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you up, sometimes you down, and it's who you are is defined by what you do when you're down.
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I went to New Psalmist on Sunday, and it was really good. It was my first time visiting that church, and the pastor talked about uh, uh, the discipline in dismay, and to be able to trust when things all around you are chaotic,
right,
and not going your way. How do you still walk with a smile? How do you still sleep at night? You know, and you have enough clarity to figure your way out.
right.
You know, and to really figure your way out, that's what makes an entrepreneur. And to get charged by what is around you, you know, because you have your down moments and, you know, disappointments. But how do you get through that will determine how successful you are.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. So what exactly do you do for your clients at GBL Sales in marketing?
You know what? The first thing that I ask a new client, what is your end game? What is it that you want out of this? And I always say my job is to help you become a millionaire. And I've been very, very successful in doing that. And for me, it's not about my money. You know, I don't approach the business from the standpoint, oh, I'm gonna make this. A lot of times you don't. But I approach the business like, how do I be an effective servant? How do I get them from point A to point Z? What are those things? So because I am a relationship builder. I have relationships at key retailers. So I help them to get on shelf, decide what is our strategy, what is that distribution strategy, what does it look like, what does it feel like, when do we decide to move to the next level, and even though a lot of the clients are similar, they're very, very different, you know. Even though they may be a natural hair brand, but the brand owners are different. Their approach to the business is different. And I think that's what I'm most good at, is identifying how to bring the best out of them, you know, to coach them along with what this buyer's like. Did you hear what they said? Did you hear what they didn't say? And not to worry about your competition, you know, it's more of, and most of my brands are younger, you know, so I've learned a lot from them. You know, I called Monique maybe about a couple of weeks ago, and I said, what's the one thing that you would tell me now, since I have my own brand? What's that one advice? She said, be consistent. I said, oh gosh. Be consistent. And she has been consistent for over 7 years now. I remember when they knew nothing about the retail space. And look at them now. I'm so very proud of them. They'll be at Ubiquitous. I'm just so proud of her and Melvin. And so now I told her, I said, now the teacher is becoming the student. And so, you know, I love to see that. I love that growth. And so my job is to help them realize their end game.
Do most people come to you when they've already been established and they're ready to go to the next level, or they're like brand new brands?
Oh, some are brand new.
Wow.
Yeah. Monique was selling on Mayel on her web and was doing on e-commerce and was doing okay, but they didn't know anything about retail.
Yeah.
But both of them are very smart, and they caught on really quick.
I remember when I first saw her, she I think you all did a panel or something with her when she was at Ubiquitous one year. And I think that's when I met you, because Brandy introduced me to you and Monique at that time. So I've seen how her brand has grown over the years, and her as well. Like even she kind of shows up differently, and she's impacting women. Like it's crazy. I love it all.
Yes. Yeah. Melvin, her husband, he said this from day one. The story must be told.
Yes.
And so, and you know, but it's a lot of wonderful brands out here. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do. You know? But you got to have that staying power, no matter what it looks like and what it feels like. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
It really is. So. but you can do it if you think you can.
Okay, right. So from your point of view or your words, like what exactly is marketing? Because I think marketing is one of those things that I'm still kind of like confused about, like everything that it encompasses as it pertains to like your brand and everything. What
It's
is
a broad
marketing?
stroke. It's all
Okay.
encompassing. I think is how you show up
Okay.
for yourself personally. I think marketing is how your brand shows up. It's so many different layers to marketing. How you want the world to see you and also see your brand,
Right.
and how and what are those things that will help you to make that happen. It's simple, but also very complicated, and it's very expensive. It's not like how when Mr. Johnson started Ebony and Jet, when he said he started with $500. I mean, it's all relative.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot of money for him back then. But he made such significant accomplishments with $500. And he was smart, he was shrewd. So to me, marketing is so many different layers, and you may not need this, but you need this type of marketing exposure. You may not be ready, and sometimes I tell people, do e-commerce.
Yeah.
Why do you want to go on retail? Now you're sharing your profit with everyone else. And depending on, again, what that end game will depend on that marketing strategy, what you're trying to achieve.
Gotcha.
But my main emphasis really is sales, making that money.
Yeah.
Helping them, really do those things, because most of them will have their own marketing consultants, and we work with them. We help create promotional campaigns, things that help to get that incremental sales.
Yeah. Got you. How can brands, I guess, start to bring their story to life? Because I know people, it's always that things like story sell, facts tell, or something like that. I know storytelling is like a big part of marketing and the reason why people buy into brands. So how can brands like bring their story to life to get more sales? Like what should they be sharing about their brands?
I think a lot of it is the brand owners.
The personal brand.
Whether you're very likable. And when I think about that, I think about Courtney with Main Choice when she owned it.
Oh, yeah.
She should have made more money than what she did, but that's why you have to be patient too. Because she's a bad young girl. And I think about her because she's very bold, and it was about her first. Then the product Main Choice was so connected with Courtney,
right,
and who she was, and people bought into her first. And that's why, sometimes I look at these different brands and you can tell they're not being authentic, and that's the bad thing about social media. It takes you off your mark. It can take you off your mark and take you off your game, because you're getting so caught into what everybody else is doing. And it just totally is confusing.
Yeah.
And so I think that with these brands, it's about, yes, it's the story, but it's to be told authentically, so that people can really, really connect. And to me, being an older person on social media and having to now building my own brand, sometimes I'm like, this is too invasive. You then if you show something sexy, then you have to worry about people showing you men showing themselves.
Right.
It's just really, really crazy. So, how much do you show? How much do you let people know? It's
like, what part do you share to connect with
what
people?
part do you yes. What can I hold back?
Yes.
And I look at certain people on social media, and I'm an energy person. I can feel, I feel you, I feel things, so it's about really being authentic, really creating brands that have efficacy. Don't just go to a manufacturer and slap your label on, and you know nothing about what's in it.
Yes.
Oyen Handmade. When I tell you, Jamila and her husband Pierre Benu, amazing, amazing couple, smart, creative, very true to themselves. And sometimes when you have high integrity and you're true to yourself, sometimes it takes you a little bit longer to get to the end of the race,
Man.
but they are amazing.
That's what I always hear too, because I personally feel like people always tell me I'm a very consistent person. I had a poll on my page a couple of weeks ago, like because I'm about to start this coaching program. So she wanted us to ask our audience, like, what are your core values or how they perceive them? And the consensus is like, oh, you're very consistent. But for me, I just feel like I have not reached my high point yet that makes me feel really good about what I'm doing. So a lot of people always say, like, when you're a little bit more authentic, you're not being fake, and it takes a little bit longer. So
yeah, it does.
patient,
and you can't rush it. Patience is the key. I'm gonna tell this story. I remember when I became a broker, and Luster Products, the pink oil moisturizer company, started me in business. And when I first got into the business was owned, the beauty brands were mainly owned by men. And the brokers were men. Majority of the brokers were men. And I remember going to a meeting, and they would list the brokers based in ranking based on the dollars that they were bringing in. And I was at the bottom. And being having a competitive spirit, not with anybody else, but with myself, that made me, I didn't like seeing myself on the bottom, but I had to tell myself, it's God's time. Your time is not anybody else's time. Just continue to deliver, to create and to operate from a position of excellence, to operate with no excuses, and perform and give your client what they need, and you'll be okay. It took me about 6 or 7 years, but I became their number one broker, and to this day I am. And they started me back in 1990, March 1st. And I always think about, how do I make sure that I'm delivering for them? And so you cannot measure yourself by anybody else's success, because even though they may have the money, you just never know. They may get sick. Money can't buy it. Look at Steve Jobs. At 57 years old, he had all the money, but his money could not buy him his health. So you cannot judge where you are and begrudge anybody based on where they are. Be happy for them. Really embrace their success and cheer them on. Because if you are consistent and do the right thing, yours will truly come. Absolutely. And you're beautiful. You have a beautiful smile. You're smart. You're going to definitely get yours.
Thank you. I'm just waiting. I've learned to be patient and really just appreciate the journey, the things that are setting me up, the things that I'm doing now that I might look back on and be like, oh, that's why that had to happen. Okay. So I'm just appreciating where I am and just taking it one day at a time.
Right. And when a door closes, let it close. I mean, you got to make sure that you're doing all that you can do. And one of the things that I notice with young people today, though, no sense of urgency. So many excuses. Oh, I'm not coming into work today. Oh, I'm not doing. You cannot grow and build an empire making excuses. And I often tell the young people in my office, and I let them see when I have bad times. And I said, this is how we're going to overcome. I want you to, I want to show you my pain. I want to tell you the challenges, but you're going to also be able to see my victory and how I come out of this, so that they understand. And in the Bible, there's a word called Gimper, Gimper. I read it many years ago. And a Gimper is to go beyond where everybody else will go. And I always say, I may not be the smartest, but I will outwork most people. Even now, I will get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and finish something. And I will go until the task is completed. And I have great work ethics.
Yeah. And that's the thing that separates a lot of people.
A lot, and people don't get that. Is you're gonna pay your dues. I'm sorry. And if you want to think you want the shortcut and it's gonna happen without you putting the blood, sweat, and tears, is not. And anybody that get it short term, the success is short term. You look at actors when they start as kids, it's hard for them to transition as they get older. And that's what gonna make a difference. As you get older, do you have what it takes, that sustainability, you know, to make you win in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, absolutely. Can we talk about the power of the Black dollar? Because I feel like a lot of us really underestimate like how powerful we are in the market. And then when it comes to, I think more people are starting to get it now with supporting like, you know, Black owned brands and everything like that. But I really do think that we underestimate like how much impact and how we could really shake up the market if we stopped, you know, pouring into other people's things and supported like our own more often.
I wish we could do it. I really do.
It might be like years from now.
Yeah, it's getting better. And there are people, and I've come across them that are very, very intentional and deliberate about buying Black. It's that, you know, I have a girlfriend, everything that she needs, she's like, can I find a company, a Black company that's making pots and pans? Can I find a Black company that's have a beehives that I could buy honey from them? She is very intentional about that. But I think it has to go both ways. When as a Black business and Black owner, again, like what I said before, we have to operate with no excuses. I got to try to give you the best service possible. And when I do that, but don't be so hard on me either. We're very hard on each other.
We are.
Very, very, very hard. And something happened recently with the Black business, and people were just treating it. I cannot remember the situation. And I was like, that's messed up. You know,
they not do that to other companies.
They don't. You know, I look at even with Chrisette Michele when she went to sing with Trump. And I had her at Ubiquitous. I've had her, she performed at my first event when I first did it 8 years ago. Then I had her in 2019, where I had people were like, oh, I love Ubiquitous, but I'm not coming because of Chrisette Michele. She's a sellout and all this. And even her mother was very concerned about her coming, because this was one of the first larger events that she would be performing in. And her mother was very concerned of how she would be received. I said, no, Ubiquitous women, we're respectful of each other. And so I responded to everybody said, well, we're gonna miss you. Right. I said, because first of all, if she was a man, we would have forgiven her already. You don't know if she did not do it for free.
Okay.
And she had to pay her bills just like everybody else. And why are we, even if she made a mistake, let's forgive and move on.
Right.
She's a great talent. And I just think sometimes we are so hard on each other. You know, and until you look at what happened with Black Wall Street, we know it can happen if we did it the right way. Exactly. And it's not about being anti anybody, it's being about pro-Black. So, you know, so, and I think Ubiquitous exemplifies that excellence, that Black excellence.
I love that too.
Yeah.
I love that because like you said, that we are very hard on each other. Then we're also pretty skeptical too. Like when a Black business comes out, we're like, we'll try something else first before we try, you know, the one that's coming from a Black owned business.
Yeah, it was like my cousin told me when I came up with my skincare line, she told her sister-in-law, you know, I love Germaine, but she said, I'm pushing this because this product is good. It's delivering. It has the efficacy. And so, and I thought about that. Sometimes they don't take it serious. But when I tell you my sisters have supported me, they have showed up and showed out. But I think that we can deliver, again, from a business to operate with no excuses. When I have people sending me notes saying this didn't work like I thought, I call them. Tell me your experience. Let's talk through this. I'm going to give you your money back. And when I tell you, they were like, I can't believe you called me. But that's what it takes. I want you to know that I'm taking it very serious that you decided to buy this product. And if it doesn't work, then full 100% refund, because everything doesn't work for everybody. But we have to be respectful. We get angry sometimes if somebody doesn't like what we have. Accept it. Right. You know, to give each other grace, but to operate with no excuses. Treat your person that looks like you with respect. You know, I tell people when I go to get service, I hate when I walk up and they just look, Black person just look at you. Yes, you may help me.
Yes. Hello to you too.
Yes. You know, we got to learn how to give each other great service. And it happens on both ends, to be kind, to show grace, but also to operate with no excuses.
Absolutely. Do you think that a lot of consumers are misled when it comes to products that we think that are, well, the products that are marketed to us that we think are owned by Black people?
Very much so.
Because there's a post, there's a post going around right now. And my friends,
but they missed a lot. They missed a couple of them.
Okay, because I was like, I'm not surprised. I actually knew that about a lot of those companies, that they are not owned by, you know, people of color at all, but they market to, you know, people of color. I thought that was like very interesting.
Yeah, but you know what? If you think about it though, okay, the shoes you wear, we buy Gucci, we buy all these others, spending all this money. But then if like I'm gonna show you this. There's a sister that has a bag. It's called Frame. Look at this bag.
That's my color. That's my favorite color.
Yeah, I have it on almost every color. Black lady. And so, and then another young lady, her name is Cecilia. And I didn't show this because she sent me this. I don't ever want my vendors to think that they have to give me gifts, because they don't. But she sent me this, but Black. Beautiful silver bag, right? And great presentation. So, I mean, we are really showing up and showing out. We just need access. We need the opportunity, you know, and we need capital. More importantly, we don't have the money to scale up like our counterparts, because society, we're hard on each other and society's hard on us. So it's a double whammy.
Just getting beat up from both sides.
Yes. It's very challenging.
Yeah, right now there is a lot of talk about like femininity and like masculine energy. And since you did mention like you were in like a mostly male dominated, well, you still are in a male dominated industry, but you know, working your way up at that time, do you have any advice for like holding your own as a woman in like a male dominated industry, but still remaining like a woman, still having that femininity and being taken seriously at the same time, that they know they can't play with you, they're not flirting with you because, you know, you're beautiful. And
for women not to be so sensitive, even if they flirt, you know how to not to be intimidated by that. And I'll never forget one of my meetings, one of the broker males said, you know, everybody had their hands up to answer a question. And he turned around, and if he hears this, he'll know who I'm talking about. He was like, what you have your hand up for? What you got to say? And I just kept my hand up. I ignored him. I ignored them. But then years later, I had a mentor say to me, a male mentor, he said, Germaine, you can stop fighting now. That was deep to me. I didn't realize that I was being overly aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be feminine, but I was pushing. I was like, you know, because what happened one time when I first got in the broker business, I found out that one manufacturer had paid all the male brokers. And when I started inquiring, I was like, oh, y'all got paid? Oh, he didn't pay me. And I sent him a letter, and I'll never forget this one line. I said, I don't call on the customers every 4 months. Therefore, I don't expect to get paid every 4 months. And he sent me my money, but he terminated me. And so that was an experience. And then the good old boys, they would, and sometimes even now, I'm always giving people lines, but people don't give me lines.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that because God gives them to me.
Right.
And so, but the males would go all around and give it to each other, but they wouldn't get, so I had to go fight and get my own lines, you know? And so, and my reputation started helping me. I didn't have to advertise. People would come to me. So it is to me, use your femininity to your advantage. And I think that that's what's so wonderful. Women are emotional. Women care. You know, you cannot be in a meeting crying, but I think that you can show that your sensitivity. I care. You know, now don't step on my toe or you'll see the other side.
Okay.
And just to be professional at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that sensitivity works to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but to let them know quickly, I'm not a pushover. And I think people respect the efforts. They respect the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the profit. It is about the bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this thing. I don't know. Have you played Never Have I Ever before? The drinking game.
No.
So there's a drinking game called Never Have I Ever. Normally you have to drink when you do this, but I have a different version on the podcast. I have a Never Have I Ever statement before, but if you have done it before, I would love for you to share the story about it. But if you haven't done it, like give some advice to someone who, you know, may have done this and they're feeling bad about it. So this is the statement.
Okay.
Never have I ever walked away from a deal and regretted it later. Hey, I know you're enjoying the episode, but I have something to tell you real quick. Did you know that I created a Patreon? Look, podcasting is fun. I absolutely love it, but it is not cheap. And there have been so many people who have reached out to me that want to support the show somehow and keep the good vibes flowing. So I thought, why not create a Patreon? For as little as $3 a month, you can support the Friends of Beauty podcast and join a community of other loyal supporters of the show, just like you, okay? There are other tier levels available that unlock tons of exclusive Patreon-only content like behind-the-scenes clips, bonus interview content, monthly calls with me, discounts, and so much more. But no matter what tier level you decide to choose, I appreciate you so much, and I'm going to give you a shout out on the podcast when you join. So if you'd like to be a part of the exclusive Patreon community for the Friends of Beauty podcast, I'll leave the link right here and down below in the show notes for you to join. And as always, I appreciate your support so, so much. Now, let's go ahead and jump back into the episode. Like, have you ever had a deal on the table as a broker and you were like, no, this is not, the numbers ain't, the math ain't math, and this is not cool, but I don't see any longevity in this. And then some years later, I should have took it.
Well, it happened in the reverse.
Okay.
I made a decision to give up on one client and go to another client because I thought that client was kind of shady. And it's a long story. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my career. I got caught up in the emotion without knowing the whole facts.
Got you.
I just heard the surface story. Then when I went on that side, I soon saw why the situation was what it was. Mm-hmm. And I was kicking myself in this person. She was not who she portrayed to be. And I made a big, it was a big mistake, big mistake that I allowed her to fool me.
Got you.
Yeah. And I made a big mistake. That was a big mistake. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then to this day, you know, I just recently heard that they were like, you know, Germaine knew we weren't ready for retail. Stop making excuses.
Right.
I asked you, were you ready? Because you have to have the stomach for retail. And because you weren't ready, it's not my fault that you weren't ready.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's listening, she'll know who I'm talking about. That it's a fact. And it just annoys me that there are people in the world that it's always somebody else's fault.
No accountability.
Always, no accountability. It's
Mm-hmm.
never want to assume the responsibility. Maybe it's you. Everybody's not stealing from you. Everybody's not going against the contract. No, that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
That was a big mistake. And it cost me money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never should have made that decision. Never should have made that decision.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I understand that.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about this purchase of Ambi because that's super exciting, because I think that's like the first skincare brand that my mom introduced to me as, a young girl. So I grew up using like the soap, the lotion, everything.
Cream, yeah.
So how did that come about? Like, why Ambi?
Well, it's funny. It goes back to always do your best, because you never know what's going to happen. And so I represented Ambi as a broker when Johnson & Johnson owned it. Then they sold it to Valiant Pharmaceuticals. I was still the broker. And it was a stepchild not because it was a Black company, but it just, in terms of dollars.
Yeah.
The whole brand did not, like when Valiant owned it, they also owned CeraVe. And CeraVe with the ceramides came out, and one SKU was generating what the whole Ambi brand was doing. I mean, so you're going to put the money behind the money, right? That generate the most money. And so I always kept creating things, and I had the B2B business, and I was always making my numbers, always trying to think about what else we can do for the brand. And my husband used to say, "You're going to buy that brand one day." And so I thought about it, but again, it was one of those things that, how will my clients feel about it? That's one of those things. Oh, will it affect my GBL business? So L'Oreal purchased it, same thing. And then after having it, I want to say maybe 8 years, I got a call from one of the black female, worked with her one time out in the field. Her name is Carol. And she called and she said, "Now there's a cash deal and they're far into the negotiation, but I threw your name in the hat. Are you interested?" And I didn't have the money because some things were going on with the business. And this is where I tell you, got to trust God. And when he gives you the vision, he also gives you the provision. And so I put together my financial advisor. He's always made money for me. Even in 2008, when a lot of stuff crashed, I didn't lose as much money as everybody else because he's brilliant. Mm-hmm. And so we put together an investment group, and L'Oreal wanted to sell it to bring it back to the community, and I applaud them for that. And so I was able to purchase Ambi. But even with that, I tried to keep it. A lot of people didn't know it because I tried to keep it on the back burner. We created a management team who, to this day, they manage the business, and I don't have to do them every day. There's certain marketing decisions that are made that they will bring me into the decision. But for the most part, I have so much on my plate right now. So I'm still a major person in the as a stockholder.
Got you.
Stakeholder.
Got you. And IKnow Skincare, you have a lot going on. Your newest venture, the skincare line for mature women.
Yes. And that's my baby. And but for a very long time, I've been interested in the platinum group. When I was in my early 50s, my stylist was doing my hair and she was spraying my hair. And I said, "What's that?" And Sharon said, "It's a product by Paul Mitchell that says younger looking hair." I said, "Younger looking hair." And I said, "When did they come out with that?" And she said, "Well, what they found out is that the products that the certain group of women demographics were using is no longer working." So they had to recreate because the DHT starts attacking your hair when you become like 38. And it just, everything starts changing as you age. And so that intrigued me. And I'm like, I'm that group. And I also, with my clients, I noticed that it was never about this group. Right. Everything was about the younger group. And I get that, but we are a loyal base. We have the disposable income. And why are we not talking to this woman? So my mother was always into skincare. And then I was like, is this going to be a conflict with Ambi? I said, but I didn't build Ambi from the beginning, from its infancy stage. Right. I wanted to do something that I created, looked at the issues that this platinum group women face with their skin, and worked with a chemist. This is not a private label brand. I play golf, so I wanted a SPF of 40. I put it on all my skin to keep that sun from damaging my skin. It's an amazing brand. So I know the name came from, I wanted to call it Face It, because after my mom passed, I was like crippled. And my mom was like, face it, Germaine, this is life, face it. But it wasn't available. And then I was talking to one of my girlfriends and I said, you know, if the things that you know, and I was like, I know. And I was like, I know. You build a foundation of those I knows as you get older. And the dragonfly is our emblem. And what happened, I was in my car crying and the dragonfly was just hovering over my trunk of my car. And I got in the house and I looked up what dragonfly meant. And dragonfly is born in the water, and then it takes flight and it becomes a creature of the air, of the whole sky. And it has the ability to pivot. And that's what life is about. Learning how to effectively pivot. And it's like, I used to tell my son, A, B, C, anyone will work for me. That's the art of pivoting. No, you don't take your focus off of A, but to know you will not be devastated if you had to go to your plan B or C. Right. And you never know, that plan C could make you more money than plan A ever could have made you. And so I have been getting such amazing reviews from IKnow. It's a beautiful product. It makes you want, I wear no foundation, only when I'm really dressed up. And I still don't wear a lot. And I tell people, even with the foundation, you have to have the right base, the right canvas. And so it's giving those women that glow. And, where foundation is a choice, not a must. And as you get older, you have to wear less makeup, or you look like you're trying to force it, So it's all about, it's more about developing creating this community of women that understand that the win happens in the fourth quarter. In order, it's hard too, where you see your body transforming into something that you sometimes don't even recognize, like, what but it's an acceptance. It's because it's a privilege and an honor. And there's a lot of people that didn't make it to 63, and so every day that God gives me, I want to honor him and be thankful. So what? I have wrinkles around here. So what? With all the things that come with aging, but I'm grateful. And very thankful. So it's having this community. We talk about vaginal rejuvenation. Okay, yes, because your stuff gets dry. Yes. Okay, your skin, everything, as you start aging, it's a reality. Let's talk about it. What are those things that we can do to prevent that? There's some stuff you can do. So we have honest conversation, and it's about constantly recreating a future for yourself. Creating that future. I'm never going to stop dreaming. Not going to stop thinking. Sometimes I have to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to start that project. No, no, I'm not going to start that soul food restaurant just because you can cook, Germaine. So, but God never stops giving me those ideas. It's a lot.
It is. I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, no, like, let me just write it down. And I also have to get out of the habit of thinking I have to do it myself. Like, I need to get into the habit of like, okay, you can have this business and let somebody else run it, but you don't actually have to do it yourself.
That's how Ambi is.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing team. And one day when they sell it, I'll make my money, you know? So it is about creating those different streams of income effectively, you know, but sometimes we're all over the place. And sometimes, you know, like I created a golf line called 18th Couture because at that time I wore very short hair and I hit the ball and I wanted everybody to know I was a girl, that I was a lady, like I curtsy and put down, and men will be like, you shouldn't be hitting from the forward tees. You should be hitting from where the men hit. I said, no, I'm a girl. And so I created these funky caps. Dresses before was really, really popular, like that old nostalgia look, that classy look. But I did not have the infrastructure because at that time that I created, we had the crash in 2008. Plus, I did not have the wherewithal, the staffing. I couldn't afford the staffing to help build this while I was still trying to build GBL.
Yeah.
And so one had to, you know, give up. I spent a lot of money, but I tell you what, I will not die with that desire in my heart. And it's a beautiful line. I still, people still wanted the caps and I still sell them when people want them.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's not like you have to do it right now. Some things you could put down for a second and pick it up later when you have the resources to really
do it. You know, we have to redefine what the word failure means. You know, it just may be not right now.
Absolutely.
You know,
yep. I'm learning that. I'm so learning that. And sometimes things, if it's not right now, sometimes it's just not meant for you as well. Like, you just never know what God may be protecting you from. When you know, get those no's or the door slams in your face, it might not have been what you thought it was on the other side. So I like to try to think of things that way too. Yes.
And it's about, you know, building a really good team around you. I'm so grateful to my team, my teammates, my coworkers. They are amazing. They work so hard. I could never do what I've done and am doing without their assistance. I have an amazing team.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. And then we have the Ubiquitous Expo coming up soon in a couple of, well, it's almost like 2 weeks or a week or so away. Like, what was your vision when you created that? What was your vision when you created Ubiquitous?
Well, I always loved that word. When I realized how to pronounce it, I was like, what? And I just love it. And then the meaning to exist, to be everywhere at the same time. And I'm like, you know, based on that definition, only God is ubiquitous, but there are ways that we can be ubiquitous, and it's making a difference in someone else's life. You know, I want when I'm no longer here, that people continue to, there's some evidence that I was here, that I made a difference, whether it's in the lives of my children, my grandchildren, or friends, or their kids, or whatever. It's about making a difference. And when this natural way of life started really coming to the forefront, women were no longer wanting to relax their hair. I start seeing a division, especially when it first hit. It's like, oh, you still relax your hair? Oh, and I'm like, who cares?
Here we go, being hard on each other again.
And judging. Who cares? What's your credit score? How much you got in the bank? That's what we need to be concerned about. What difference are you making in someone else's life? And so if you look at the ubiquitous head, that's what that means. You see one side where her hair is relaxed and one side her hair is natural, because that's what we are. It doesn't matter how you choose to wear your hair. Who are you as a person? So for me, you know, the beauty aspect of it was the hook. And after our first ubiquitous event, people were like, you know, this wasn't a hair show. This was really about health and wellness that creates beauty.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, that is, you know, but I just knew that was the hook. So it's evolved into this amazing show that's about collaboration. It's about giving information. We're doing free mammograms. Black women are dying at a higher rate than our Caucasian sisters, because first of all, we're not in trials. And if we're not in trials, we're not creating products that will help us get through. More and more younger women are being diagnosed with breast cancer because we're not getting treated. So we want everybody, if you don't do anything but buy one thing, come and get a free mammogram from this organization called Touch, the Black Breast Alliance, a group founded by Ricky Farley, who is a cancer survivor herself. An amazing organization. And we're having conversations about what men want and what women really need. And so that's going to be an interesting conversation. Just a lot of thought-provoking panel discussions, wonderful vendors, wonderful. Like I said, it's Black excellence, and not every brand is Black owned, but the majority of them are Black owned. Can2 is one of our title sponsors. Every penny that they make, they're going to have, it goes right to Touch. It's not even where that the money goes to Can2 and then they send them a check. No, Can2 is going to have Touch representatives in their brand, and the squares will go right into their bank account. I thought that was just so amazing. That's a serious give back, So Ubiquitous, we're going to start off with a party on Friday. Anybody that knows me knows I work hard, but I party harder. And my thing is always, don't judge me. Don't judge me, yes, because I'm going to have a good old time. So it's about, we survived. Not only did we survive this COVID thing, we're successful. We're a beautiful people. It's called Black and Bling. And so we're telling everybody, wear your black, wear your bling. And then Stokely, if you've ever seen him, he's going to give up the energy.
Yes.
He's going really, he performed. He's 52. I couldn't believe how he dances and performs.
Wow.
We're redefining what that fourth chapter looks like.
And that's what I love. That's exciting for me,
Yes.
As a young lady, like it's so much to aspire to. Like, what is age anymore?
Yeah, what is, my husband said, I can't remember who said it. If you didn't know that there was a thing of age, a chronological number that defines who you are, what age would you be?
That's a good question. I like that.
But and then people ask, if you had a chance to go back, would you? My husband and I talked about this yesterday.
Not really.
There's no age that I would rather be. 20s was so confusing. 30s and 40s I was trying to make it. 50 was a good time, but still not where I wanted to be. And still, even now, I'm not sad. I'm satisfied, but I'm legacy building.
Yeah. I love that you said legacy building, because I want to know, like, what are you working on your legacy to be? When it's all said and done, they say this about Germaine and what she left behind and she contributed.
It's first, it starts with my family. And I want to be able to give them those things that will help them to build, so I can give them advice while I'm living. I look at my grandchildren, they're brilliant. My granddaughter, have 3, one's 15, one's 13, and we have an 11-month-old. And my legacy is for them to say, we are here because Nana was a hustler.
Okay.
Nana made it happen for us, and then for them, we have, my daughter's a PharmD. I was the first person to go to college in my family. My daughter's a PharmD. My son is on his way to get his MBA. My nephew, my sister's son, he's in a fellowship program at Georgetown, our first medical doctor. And so my grandsons goes to Sidwell. Well, one just transferred over to DeMatha because he's a swimming. So I see the legacy is building, and they understand what the expectations are.
Right.
And so for me is to pave a way so that it's not that hard for them as it was. I had no fallback plan. You know, I always say my dad, who lives with me and he has dementia, we always tease that our inheritance is in that ashtray. You know, but because of that, it makes you, when you know you can only depend on yourself, it gives you that hustle. You know, I don't mind saying I'm a hustler. I am. I get my hustle on and proud of it. You know,
I love that. I love that. So do you have anything else coming up next, or what's next for you, your brand, or anything else you want to share?
I know. I'm looking forward to building that and to become the #1 skincare brand for the Platinum Group. That is my goal. And to do it in short order.
I love that.
And so to show them that this is a quality product, and you will see the difference if you use the product. It gives you that glow. And we want you to also have that glow from the inside out, to be happy, to embrace. This time is so short. We got to be happy.
Yes, I love this. This has been such a great conversation. I don't want it to end.
I can't wait to see you at Ubiquitous. You're so beautiful.
Thank you.
I know that God, my prayer for you is that God just open up the doors and every day to give you new vision, for you to see what he has in store for you. And it's very important that you sit down and get quiet. You got to have that quiet moment and give God his time, so that he can speak to you and he will answer your prayers. He will answer your questions. Everything is in that word. You know, everything. You know, they have these books, Who Moved My Cheese? But right there, I love that book. Who Moved My Cheese is really about, and I can't remember the chapter, but about when he gave, where the boss gave 3 of his servants 1 pence to 5 pence. And what they did with that money. It's all in that word, you know, and with David, how David, he was an adulteress, a murderer, a liar. But one thing, it shows you that God loves, he looks at the heart. He looks at the heart, you know, and that's why we got to make sure that our heart is always right, no matter what we do, that the heart is right.
Yes.
But I pray that he just gives you that vision every day, that you see the opportunity when it's right there.
Thank you. Thank you. So before you go, I have to ask you the rapid fire questions, the Friends in Beauty rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So whatever comes to your mind first, just, spit it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first one, what are your top 3 keys to your success so far?
It is consistency, hard work, and authenticity.
I love it. How do you measure your success?
That I can wake up every morning skipping, that it's easy for me to smile, and that I don't have to borrow money.
I love that. What's the best advice you've ever received, or a piece of advice that just always has stuck with you?
The best advice, one of the best advice for me was deal with people based on who they are and not who you are.
Okay, that's a bar. What advice would you give to someone who maybe like a small niche brand owner right now, who is just fighting for their business to reach a certain pinnacle and they're just ready to give up because they're not seeing the results that they want to see? What advice would you give to them?
Don't judge your results based on someone else's results. Because you may have a 5 million brand, and so what, someone may have a $100 million brand. It doesn't matter. You know, that 5 million is a good life, a good living. And how do you continue and make that sustainable so that you can buy and create that legacy for your family, no matter where you are? And don't measure. You cannot win a race. I always tell everybody, you can't win a race looking from side to side and backwards. Slow and steady wins the race.
Absolutely. What's a resource that helps you in your business that you can share with the Friends in Beauty community?
Resource. Well, I'm gonna gonna tell you, and that's why I tell people don't judge me, because when you see me on Friday night, you're like, oh, is that Germaine? I am. It's that Bible for me. It really is. It's that Bible for me, and I will tell everybody in the business. And one of my girlfriends who was in finance, bad sister out of Chicago, she always said, get to know your banker. Do not, she said, Germaine, don't just go through the window and know your money. Go inside. Get to know your banker.
Yes.
And that was some good advice, because when I did need to get a line of credit, I was like, hey, Jimmy, I need a line of, can I sit down, go in your office, talk to you?
Right.
Yeah. So, was able, because we had formed a relationship. Mm-hmm. In him getting to know me and my business. So, get to know your banker.
Yeah. I think Kaya had said something similar too, because like when, COVID happened and money was, or things were just shutting down, and you got to know your banker because they can do some things on that little keyboard and make something happen for you. Yeah. Yep. So the last one, just fill in the blank. I just want you to say, my name is blank. And the key to longevity and success is whatever you think it is.
You want my name is Germaine Bolds-Leftridge, and I think the key to success is being able to be authentic and not worry about what anybody else is doing. Mm-hmm. Run your own life race. Be thankful, be grateful, and enjoy your life's journey.
Absolutely. So before you go, share your social media or however you want people to connect with you and all of your brands.
Yes. Well, there's 3. IKnow Skincare. For your auntie, your mom, your mom, your cousin, whoever is in the 50 plus. But I also say that women your age, start taking care of your skin now, so it'll take care of you later. Also, my personal page is Detroit Germaine and Ubiquitous _Expo. Come on out, support these brands, have a good time, amazing shopping experience. And it's just going to be beautiful. Wear your mask. If you're uncomfortable, wear your mask, and we're spread out so that people are not on top of each other. So cost us more, but we did it because we love you.
Yeah, and that's August 27th and 28th.
Hey, yes. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you there.
I look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for doing this. It's an absolute pleasure, like seriously.
Oh, it was so nice talking with you. Seeing you again.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find this show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, #Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.